When we started Ben and Jerry's, we didn't have any intention of being a big business. Jerry and I were two failures. I failed at becoming a potter. Nobody would buy my pottery. Jerry couldn't get into medical school. And we said, well, let's just try to start a homemade ice cream shop. And, our idea was that we wanted to run a business the way regular everyday people on the street would like to see a business run. A business that cared about them, that cared about the community, that wasn't trying to exploit people or their employees or the environment. And we ended up doing that. We were actually kind of surprised. We didn't think that we'd be successful with that idea, and people really like it.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're a national hero. You're a national hero to every cannabis partaker in the United States. I mean,
well, thank you very much.
I can remember I was a senior in high school. And I remember the first time that I ever had it because I was a senior in high school and I was hanging out with friends and the next thing you know, it's like the pints come out of the freezer. It's just and I'm telling you, that has been duplicated millions upon millions of times over. So I am sure that when people recognize you and they approach you and they tell you, thanks for making my late nights a heck of a lot more fun.
And you know what's funny is there was this place where when I went to school, I went to the University of Colorado at Boulder. So to give you an idea, like that's me. And there was this place called Dan's Cookies, and you would get a Dan's dozen with a pint of Ben and Jerry's, and they sold it as late night snack. Oh, brilliant business model. And this was in like 89, like 90, right? And it was awesome. It was awesome. I appreciate it. Does it make you sort of sad at all to, like, now that you're not in that in it with any anymore, like that the company isn't the same?
Well, the company, was this little homemade ice cream shop, and then one thing led to another, and we started producing the ice cream in pints, and it, ended up being distributed all over the country, and we became a publicly held company. We had originally sold shares in the business just to Vermonters, our neighbors. And then we went public, and our idea was to be an anti-corporate corporation. And then we hired the wrong CEO, and he arranged things so that the company ended up getting sold to Unilever. That was in the year 2000. And that was, pretty much just about the most difficult part of my life. I mean, I was extremely depressed after that. I tried to keep the company independent, and I lost that battle. And I figured that, that was kind of the end of the social mission of the company. But I was kind of surprised that, under the ownership of Unilever, the social mission, kind of continued to thrive. I mean, the problem was that, in terms of the increasing concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer hands, all the profits were going to Unilever. But the company was I think still did a good job of using its voice to speak out for justice, and integrating social concerns into how we did business.
Yeah. That's you know what? You set a model and you set a standard. So even though this is not that same company anymore, it set that standard. And everyone, like, that was a whole new thing. I mean, it was really revolutionary.
Yeah, I think, business's line had been that, oh, we can't help to meet the needs of the community because then we'll go out of business. It's not possible. It's impossible for businesses to address social issues, social problems, and still be profitable. And Ben and Jerry's put the lie to that statement, and then consumers started asking, started expecting more and more from other corporations, and I'm pretty proud of that.
You should be. I've seen a couple of times in the chat, people are saying that it was the rule that about 4 times the highest person doesn't make 4 times more than the lowest paid person at the company. Why don't we see that now? Why can't we have people doing that now?
Wait a minute. You don't think hold on a minute. You don't think it's right that Mr. Cohen makes 300 times more than his lowest paid employee? I mean, come on, Jen. You're just not being realistic about the way things are these days.
I swear.
Well, when Ben & Jerry's was starting to become a larger company, the salary ratio, the spread between CEO pay to line worker pay was 40-1. And Jerry and I were kind of outraged by that. And then we came up with this 5-1 salary ratio. And, as the company got bigger, it switched to a 7-to-1 salary ratio. And, now there is no salary ratio. But like I say, at the time that we put it into effect, the standard in the country was 40-1. Now I believe it's about 350-1. And I mean, when I was working on the Bernie campaign and he made a statement that billionaires shouldn't exist, I wasn't really sure about that. And, the more I've thought about it, I think it's right. Nobody needs $1 billion. And the problem is that the system, what they say is the system isn't broken, it's fixed. The system is rigged. Yeah. And it's rigged to have all of the wealth go into the hands of a small group of people. And that's systematic, and it was set up that way, and we can set it up different. It's not that way in every democracy. It's not that way in every capitalist country. What we have in our country is unfettered capitalism. There's no restraints on it. Kind of because we've said that money is free speech and corporations are people. So the corporations control the legislation, and the legislation ends up favoring the corporations and the wealthy.
I guess my question is this. This is my question, though, okay? So it's almost like all the best intentions. You start out with a small little company, you have the best intentions, but as it grows and you need more capital and it keeps coming in and you end up now being public. So it's like, is it possible? Is there a point when it stops being possible for companies to be ethical in terms of size? And is that because now they're serving shareholders?
No, I think it definitely is possible. We didn't set up the legal structure as well as we could have. We thought that we had made it so that it was not possible for us to be acquired, but we were, and we didn't do it right. I mean, the best example of doing it right, I guess, is Patagonia. Okay. And there are a bunch of other companies that are owned by nonprofits. So I think it is definitely possible, and now, after what happened to Ben & Jerry's, there's a new form of corporation called the B Corp. And those corporations, by law, have to take into account the benefit of the community into how they do business.
Yeah. So it's possible. Okay, that's inspiring. It is possible to do that.
Yeah.
Which is why I've said time and again that if the only way that capitalism can survive and thrive is if it's blended evenly with socialism. There is no other way. You look at any other nation around the world that is successful at blending the two ideologies together. Australia, Japan, Germany, a handful of others mixed in.
Scandinavian countries, right? Social democracies, absolutely.
Exactly.
You can be. I mean, what we have in the United States is corporate capitalism, and
not free market.
Totally not free market. And what they have in those other countries you mentioned is social capitalism, social democracies versus corporate democracies.